The story begins in a high school that looks ordinary. Suddenly, something small is thrown into one of the classrooms. Inside, a black-haired student is sitting at his desk. The object hits the boy squarely on the head while he's focused. A bully behind him laughs and asks if the eraser hit him. The boy thinks about throwing it back, but there's no one in front of him. He just lets out a frustrated sigh because of the situation. With a scowl, the boy notices something else flying near him. Then, the sound of paper being torn comes from the student. The boy finally turns around and, with a serious look, asks them to stop. The bully and his friend look at him with contempt and ask what he said. The bully gets up from his desk and walks toward the boy. With an angry expression, he asks again what the boy said. The boy hesitates for a moment when he sees the other student's clenched fist. He explains that he just wanted him to stop throwing the eraser. In response, the brute punches the boy hard in the face. The other kid grabs his hair as he cowers in fear. The bullying continues, with the bully getting more and more violent. He yells that he won't stop just because the boy asked him to. The bully screams that he doesn't have to listen to what he says. The other students just watch and criticize the boy being beaten. Suddenly, a warning that the teacher is coming makes the bully stop. At the door, an older man with glasses observes the commotion. The protagonist feels relieved, thinking the teacher will save him. The bully quickly changes his posture and pretends to be the boy's friend. The teacher enters and tells the students to stop playing and sit down. With a cynical smile, the bully agrees, leaving the boy in shock. The teacher then asks the class rep to lead the greeting. The boy can't believe the adult saw that as a joke. Later, the two bullies are seen passing a note. The note is stuck on the protagonist's back. It says the boy doesn't have a mom, and the bullies laugh hard. With a bruised face, he thinks there's no one to help him. The teacher ignores everything and asks student number 14 to read. The boy reflects that adults don't care and no one will save him. Sitting at his desk, he feels completely alone and isolated. The bell rings, announcing the end of class and a new day. A new student enters the classroom and asks if anyone has a cigarette. The bully immediately offers one and invites him to hang out. But the newcomer rips the note off the boy's back and defends him. The bully admits it was him and mocks the boy for having no parents. Furious, the new kid crushes the note in his hand. Seeing his reaction, the bully gets scared and tries to apologize. But the newcomer isn't interested and punches him hard in the face. The brute is thrown back by the force of the punch and hits some lockers. The boy's defender continues with a powerful kick. Lying on the floor, the bully screams in pain from the beating. The new kid stares at him and asks if he forgot his place. Shocked, the protagonist hears the mysterious student warn not to mess with him. He threatens the bully, saying his life will become hell if he sees him again. After that day, the protagonist looks in the mirror with a new attitude. He decides he will train to become stronger than everyone. The boy doesn't want to be humiliated like that ever again. The calendar shows time passing as he follows his plan. During this time, he trains hard every day. The boy also studies many books about martial arts techniques. He runs through the streets daily to improve his stamina. To learn more, he watches professional fights on his TV. He steps on the scale and notices he's gaining weight from the effort. Exhausted, he forces himself to do one more exercise, pushing his limits. Besides weight, the boy checks his height to see if he's grown. The training remains intense, and he counts each exercise with difficulty. Calendar pages continue to fly, showing the passage of time. Much more muscular, he now trains while studying, wanting more and more. Back at school, the students are stunned by his new appearance. Some girls notice him, but a friend warns them to stay away. The scene then shifts to a guy with glasses in a convenience store. The story shifts to the principal's office at a prestigious school. There, a woman explains that delinquents are no longer under control. She says they only listen to other bullies who are stronger than them. She then reveals the name of a project designed to handle this situation. The plan is to create a secret team of delinquents to control the others. A man gets angry at the idea, but the woman finds it amusing. Another executive complains and says the project is completely ridiculous. One of them asks if there's anyone capable of handling those bullies. Cut to the guy from the convenience store who's unable to concentrate. An older man scolds the young man for being distracted. He complains that today's youth lack passion. The worker thinks about giving up and regrets leaving school. Outside, a group of delinquents surrounds a boy asking him for money. The victim says he needs to call his mom, and the bullies begin to mock him. Suddenly, a stronger man shows up and gets the group's attention. He tells the tattooed bully to stop and go buy him cigarettes. The girl in the group quickly switches sides and joins the stronger guy. The two leave together, abandoning the rest of the gang on the street. The door to the store opens, and our protagonist, named Daegun, greets them. His boss asks him to handle the accounts and steps out for a moment. The tattooed bully enters the store and asks Daegun for 2 packs of cigarettes. The clerk thinks to himself that the couple looks underage. Daegun decides to ask for their IDs to confirm their age. The bully gets annoyed and says he can't go home just to get it. The employee says he can't sell without ID and tells them to leave. The girl complains and says the clerk is too strict. The bully recognizes Daegun and asks what he's doing there. Losing patience, he throws a large bill on the counter and rushes him. Daegun tells him to wait because he's also going to grab some drinks. He comes back with 2 bottles of alcohol and places them on the counter. The girl is confused and asks why he's buying that. Daegun sighs and turns his attention to the bully. The bully gets angry at Daegun's attitude and glares at him. The girl beside the bully looks nervous from the growing tension. The guy loses patience and grabs the clerk by the collar. He threatens Daegun, saying he's going to beat him right there. Hiding, the store manager sees the scene and is too afraid to call the police. The older man comes out and tries to calm both boys down. He apologizes to the bully and suggests they settle things outside. Daegun can't believe his boss is letting the thug leave without consequences. In an alley, the bully grabs a hostage and challenges Daegun. The thug says Daegun isn't safe now that they're outside. The clerk coldly tells him to release the hostage and gives him 3 seconds. The girl mocks Daegun and asks if he thinks he's in a movie. Ignoring the taunt, Daegun begins counting aloud. The bully gets mad at his confidence and lunges to punch him. Everything happens fast and the girl screams for him to wake up. She tries to wake the bully on the ground while Daegun watches calmly. The guy wakes up, confused, and she tells him he was knocked out with 1 hit. From afar, a mysterious person watches the scene, shocked. The girl is stunned that Daegun defeated her friend so quickly. The bully claims that if it were a real fight, Daegun wouldn't have touched him and calls for backup. He yells at his girlfriend to call his friends to come help. Tired of it all, the girl calls him a loser and runs off. Alone, the thug tries to intimidate Daegun, who simply tells him to leave. The clerk suddenly grabs him and asks how old he is. He tightens his grip on the bully's neck, who stammers and can't answer. With more force, Daegun makes him scream and says age doesn't matter. The guy is forced to kneel as Daegun reveals he's 17. Nearly passing out, the bully says he can't breathe and begs him to stop. Daegun warns him not to come back to the store or things will get worse. The backup gang arrives and finds him kneeling in the alley. They ask why he's on his knees in front of the clerk. Daegun looks at the newcomers and asks if everyone's here. The gang's leader, a huge man, calls him crazy for what he's done. The clerk mocks him, saying he looks more like an uncle than a student. The big guy reveals his name is Oh Daehan from Nandong High School. Daehan says he doesn't care who Daegun is and that he's joining the fight. He gets ready to attack and end the nonsense, but before he can move, Daegun slaps him swiftly in the face. The gang leader is stunned and spits from the power of the blow. The girl watching is in shock, seeing Daehan unconscious on the ground. Daegun says he doesn't have much time and calls the rest of the gang to fight. The gang members get angry at his boldness. One of them charges to punch him. Daegun calmly puts his hand in his pocket. He dodges easily and counters with a hit right to the guy's face. Another attacker comes in, but Daegun dodges again. A third tries a sneak attack, but Daegun blocks with his arm. He then lands a powerful uppercut, knocking one out. The beatdown continues with Daegun dodging and striking everyone at once. The gang tries to fight back, but Daegun stays in complete control. In the blink of an eye, he rushes through them with incredible speed. He delivers blow after blow, taking down more attackers. Seeing this, the first bully finds a bottle on the ground. In desperation, he gets up and grabs the bottle as a weapon. He runs toward Daegun, threatening him with the glass bottle. With a quick kick, Daegun shatters the bottle before it hits. He immediately follows up with a powerful punch to the guy's jaw. The hit sends the thug flying and leaves him on the ground. With everyone down, Daegun turns to the hostage and asks if he's going to fight. The boy realizes only one person could be this strong. He asks if the clerk is Kwon Daegun, who used to study with him. The girl is shocked to hear he's the leader of Incheon.
Legend says this guy took over the entire region in just a week. A famous rumor says getting beaten by Kwon Daegun is one of the worst things.
The boy thinks the rumors don't match the current look of the legend. The last remaining thug bows and begs for forgiveness. Daegun grabs him and scolds him, asking if he has no shame. Then he turns to the girl, who's frightened by everything. The boy asks what to do with the bodies, but Daegun couldn't care less. The boy asks where to take them, and Daegun gets an idea. He wakes up the gang leader with a slap and tells him to get up. The big guy wakes up confused, but Daegun says that's not important. Daegun sits on the first thug and tells the leader to bow down. He threatens him, saying if he acts like a dog at the store again, he's finished. He asks if he understood, and the bully answers yes, terrified. Daegun thinks that in his youth, he also had to deal with people like that. The sun finally sets, ending a long day of work and fights. As he walks, he reflects that he enjoyed the feeling of fighting again. But when he gets home, That woman from the Iljin project is waiting for him. She asks to talk, but he immediately refuses. She ignores his answer and says she has a proposal for him. He looks at the card and sees she's a project manager from a foundation. Somewhere else, her boss asks on the phone if the boy accepted the offer. Daegun Gats, the scene cuts to the front of a school called Golden Dragon High. Our protagonist, who trained for months, stands in front of the gate. He adjusts his uniform and complains about having to go back to school at 20.
We flash back to the past, with the clerk asking about the strange project.
The woman confirms it and says the plan was created after seeing his abilities. He mocks her and asks if the Education Foundation always does things like this. She reveals she researched his past, leaving him visibly shocked. The executive says he can't refuse the offer because he's desperate. The young man thinks it's not a good time to brag about his past. He sees it as a chance to fix the mistakes he's made. Back in the present, our hero walks through the hallways of the new school. A hall monitor appears and yells at all students to go to their classrooms. In one class, a bullying scene unfolds. One boy is used as a personal delivery boy. The class president, a bully named Hojong, asks where the new guy is. He kicks his servant while complaining about those who dropped out. One of his friends makes a tasteless joke, and a girl scolds him. Hojong scolds his servant for not focusing on getting bread for him. At the door, the teacher finds Daegun and calls him in. The teacher steps in front of the class and tells everyone to quiet down. Our hero introduces himself as Kwon Daegun from Incheon. The girls in the class immediately swoon over the handsome new guy. The boys, on the other hand, don't seem happy about his arrival. One of the bullies teases Hojong about a girl taking interest in Daegun. The class president glares and thinks the new kid is asking to get beaten. The teacher shows Daegun an empty seat so he can settle in. He sits and greets his new deskmate, a student named Min-soo. Min-soo warns him about the class as Daegun grabs his glasses to study. A bully nearby mocks him, asking why he even needs glasses. The thug asks Min-soo why Daegun uses glasses in class. For no reason, the brute punches the desk violently. Our hero is surprised by the sudden aggression and doesn't understand. The class president then mocks Daegun for his age and tells him to pay attention. He then orders Min-soo to drop everything and go buy him lunch. He explains that his previous servant quit and Min-soo is now the replacement. Daegun steps in and says Min-soo is his partner, and he's not going anywhere. The bully ignores the new guy and squeezes Min-soo's face, congratulating him. Our hero then makes up a ridiculous excuse to keep Min-soo from leaving. Hojong's friend bursts into laughter at Daegun's lame excuse. Hojong turns to Daegun and sarcastically thanks him for his kindness. Angry, he orders everyone in class to close their eyes. Fearing what might happen, the entire class obeys the order. Hojong approaches Daegun thinking it'll be an easy fight, but our hero grabs the attack with one hand and stares him down.
The class president freezes and tells him to let go of his hand. A flashback shows the original Daegun complaining about the project rules. The woman says it's a secret mission and asks what he thinks about the school. She says the school is like the animal kingdom. A leashed lion doesn't rule. She looks him in the eyes and says he can't be just a regular lion for this mission. Back in the present, our hero remembers the rules and apologizes. One of the bullies realizes Daegun didn't close his eyes like everyone else. Hojong resumes harassing Min-soo, saying the new guy knows nothing. The class leader then suggests that Daegun and Min-soo get along well together. Our hero replies that one servant is already more than enough.
Hojong starts laughing, mocking the situation. His blonde friend also laughs, saying these new kids are pretty fierce. Hojong glares at Daegun and warns him not to lose his courage. Our hero sighs and stands up to face the bully. To everyone's surprise, he stretches out his hand and asks Hojong for money. The class leader is confused and tells him to use his own wallet. Annoyed, he grabs Daegun by the hair and calls him crazy. Daegun scolds him, and Hojong says he's not sweet enough to give him money. Daegun then asks if his parents didn't give him money for lunch. That hits a nerve, and the bully says Daegun started it. But Daegun is faster and lands a strong punch to Hojong's stomach. The bully spits from the force of the hit, stunned by the counterattack. Daegun follows up with a powerful cross to the face. The class leader stumbles back, completely disoriented from the pain. Two students watching are left in shock at the brutal scene. The new kid thinks that in this school, rules mean nothing. Only strength matters. He grabs Hojong and continues the beating. Another punch lands squarely, sending the bully flying. The girl who was interested in Daegun now thinks he's crazy and gets scared. The rest of the class is frozen in disbelief. Hojong's blonde friend gets up and yells at Daegun, confused by everything. Daegun calls him out and says He wants him to come closer. The guy accepts the challenge and tells Daegun to bring it on. Daegun warns him to get ready because the fight is about to start. He walks toward the blonde thug who prepares to strike. The bully tries to kick, but Daegun dodges with ease. Our hero avoids the attack with a smooth, fast move. The blonde throws a punch, but misses again and gets frustrated. Daegun takes the opportunity and lands a solid kick to his stomach. The guy spits from the pain, hit hard in the gut.
Daegun says he warned him and that one more strike remains. The blonde, now on the floor, begs for it to stop, saying it's too dangerous.
Daegun ignores his whining and glares at him with superiority and disdain. The class president gets up, grabs a chair, and charges at Daegun. Our hero says the fun was great, but it's time to end this fight. He kicks the chair away and delivers a final, devastating blow to the bully. The fight ends, and the dust begins to settle in the classroom. On the ground, Hojong mutters that for some reason, he feels relieved. Daegun reflects that this bully versus bully project works exactly like this. He grabs Hojong and asks if the cafeteria bread is worth all this mess. He continues to mock him and tells him to go buy that bread now. The blonde friend warns him the fight isn't over just because he beat two. Daegun reveals that the class president isn't even the real leader. The blonde guy says the real boss is coming, and now Daegun is in trouble. He shouts the name of the real class leader, Manhwa. At that moment, the true captain, a guy named No Manhwa, enters the classroom. Daegun looks him up and down and scoffs, wondering if that's their leader.